come to the blind presentation after we're finished with the interview. So for 5 minutes, we're going to be doing the blind and window treatment. And if you would like a raffle ticket, find the train engineer.
Hey everybody, we are back live from the Experience Show in Chattanooga again, and I have Michael Pinto with us. And we've talked many times on these different TV platforms that we're broadcasting on now, but he was doing a presentation today, actually following the presentation I did. So I want to bring him in to say hello and talk a little bit about what he was talking about. How you doing, Mike?
I'm blessed. Lance, thank you very much for having me in, and appreciate being here at the show. Of course, I got a Normie shirt on because I'm
There you go.
here as a volunteer instructor for Normie and just trying to help out.
Well, I kind of felt like I was the warm-up act for you this morning because you went on right after I did. And, you know, you had a big crowd there. You know, you were talking about mycotoxins and such.
That's good. I don't know if I've ever had a warm-up act
There you
before,
go.
so I'm impressed by that. I think I'm moving up in the world.
Well, I actually, they had me sandwiched in between Doug starting his presentation. His ended, mine went, and then, you know, you following what I did. So it was a good group that I had. And I think I saw yours was much bigger even.
Well, and I think the rationale for what they did actually makes some sense, all kidding aside. So Doug started off this morning talking about assessment. You were then talking about how to market a mold business. And then I was talking about a more specific aspect of the mold remediation industry, which is the mycotoxin cleaning and even getting in a little bit into the sensitized individuals. And so if if somebody had been on the Normie track, that actually made logical sense in terms of how to proceed in that area. You start with a general
Right.
assessment, then the general marketing of the business. And then if that's successful, and one of the things I was trying to explain to people is that you have to take another step to get good at the mycotoxin cleaning to help the sensitized individuals.
Oh, absolutely you do. But this just clarifies that I was wrong about that it was a rock, paper, scissors thing, getting the order set up. It was actually a rationale to it. So what did I know?
No, I thought it worked really well, but
Yeah.
the reality of the situation is that for somebody who really wants to take on mold remediation for the mycotoxins and for the sensitized individuals, they should be good at the general remediation first. It's a tough way to do it, to come into the industry brand new and say, okay, I'm going to focus on the sensitized individuals, or I'm going to focus on mycotoxin cleaning, because there's so much background level stuff that they need to know to then add on to get there.
Well, it kind of would be like somebody going to become a specialist in medicine before they became a doctor.
Exactly right. Yeah.
You know,
You
you
don't
need the
want-
basic skills first.
Yeah. You don't want somebody who doesn't know the pinky from the toe to,
Exactly.
be a specialist. You've got to work your way up through all that. So
Yeah.
good analogy. I'll be using that in one of my classes, I'm sure.
That's okay. I'll send you an invoice. We're
Yeah,
good.
that's fine. Like
Yeah.
that's ever going to get paid, but go ahead, send it to me.
Okay. Yeah. Just as somebody that cares. I know how that works.
Right, that's right. Love you too, right?
Yeah, there you go. So another Experience Show, you've been to many of them. We have. This is their smaller event, but we know that the one coming up in the fall, late summer, early fall, that's their big event out in Las Vegas,
Correct.
which they're already selling. And I think they told me more than a third of it's already sold. So it's going to be a big show.
Well, and it's interesting. I've been at enough of these things. I don't necessarily ever downgrade just because it's a smaller number of attendees. What that means sometimes is that you've got a little bit more time to talk to people, and you can do a bit more education, whether it's here in the booth or whether it's in the sessions. I was blessed this morning because my session ran right up until lunchtime, and that allowed people to stay another 20-25 minutes and ask questions.
Yeah.
And you know what, my feeling was, if the experience thinks I'm an expert enough to be there as a speaker, I'm going to stay there as long as people want to ask me questions.
Absolutely. You know, the one thing I noticed here, and like this is they're smaller of the two shows, is you get a show like this, you have more time to talk to people, like you said. And the people that are here are the ones that are truly the followers of the industry. Not just somebody that because it was a show and a bunch of people are going, they're going to go. These are the people that are at all the shows.
Well, and I'm certainly not knocking Chattanooga or anything like that, but there isn't the pull away from the convention hall like there is in Las Vegas, where people can
Right.
immediately walk over to the casinos or whatever it is. And there's just so much more bright lights and attraction. Here, you have to kind of dig for a little bit for the local attractions. And so as a consequence, I think you get people that stay in the show longer. And I thought it was really good attendance at the educational sessions this morning. I thought that,
Oh, there was.
even at
Yeah.
Doug's at 8:30 in the morning had a lot of people in it.
Yes. But in reality, to give it the feel of Las Vegas, we have David DeGraff here wearing his fluorescent orange suit, which hopefully we're going to get him to stand still long enough a little bit later on to be able to talk to him also, because he's part of this industry. He provides very valuable service. He's not on the educational side, but he provides the manpower.
And also, doesn't he have something to do with the chemicals too, or no?
No. He's more of a manpower provider. You have a major job or disaster,
Okay.
you need 200-300 people. That's who you call.
Okay.
He sends the crew in to help out with that. But back to you and what you were doing, everything you talked about this morning, the people that come to these types of things are starving for. They want that information. They're hearing it from the customers about mycotoxins, endotoxins, all the types of problems like that.
So, and I'm not trying to toot my own horn or anything, but one of the things that I really work hard at in these presentations is to make sure that it's not only good information and credible information, but it's digestible. So several times I noticed during the presentation today, I was talking about studies is in medical or environmental studies that get published in peer-reviewed journals, that a lot of times the layperson just isn't going to take the time to get into that, or B is going to get lost in it. And so being able to read those, extract the 2 or 3 core items from it, link it to core items that I've taken from other studies, and then make sense of it all. That's what the process was all about today. And it was, as a speaker and as an instructor, I think you're familiar with this as well. When you're up in front of people, whether it's in a classroom or in a presentation setting like that, you can look at their eyes and you can figure out most of the time whether they're getting it or not.
Absolutely.
And it was, to me, that was the most gratifying thing today, is I'm looking out at the people in the audience and they're getting it. And that, again, is not because I'm such a great instructor or anything, but because I'm working hard to give them factual information. And a couple of questions at the end, I had to tell them, I don't have an answer for you, and I'm not going to make one up just to sound like I'm an expert. But I will go back. I took some notes. I will go back. I'll do some research, and I'll be prepared for that question next time.
Yeah. And you know what? Again, back to the point I made earlier, the people that are here because this is their industry. They want to be here and they want the information. They want to be in front of the customers, asking them questions that they can't answer. They want to have those answers. That's why they're here. That's why they come to listen to you talk.
Well, and I think the other thing too is, particularly in mycotoxins, where it's a kind of a cutting edge, newer subject matter in the industry and stuff. How do you separate the fluff from the reality? And I think that's, and hopefully they know that if it's me as a speaker or anybody from Normie, that's what they're going to get. They're not going to get the fluff. They're going to get the facts. And so I think that's one of the reasons that Normie has a whole track of sessions here. They don't just, people who are putting on the show don't just give Normie those sessions because they like you. They give them to Normie because they know that you're going to bring people into the show and into the educational sessions, and you're not going to lie to them.
I started this morning when I was talking to the group with mine. One of the first things I said to them is, I am not going to tell you what you should be doing. I'm not going to tell you what you shouldn't be doing. And more importantly, I'm not here to try to sell you anything. And they all started laughing because they're so used to these power plays when they're in these types of events, people trying to sell them their wares. It was pure information. It was pure suggestions, and they appreciated that.
You're giving them information rather than an infomercial.
Exactly.
And unfortunately, because of just the presence of YouTube and TV and everything else,
Yeah.
a lot of the information is really wrapped into infomercials. So just as a counterpoint in some respects, I was telling my group that right off the bat, I don't take any finder's fees. I don't take any commissions. If I mention a product or a company or a name or piece of equipment, it's because I think it works. And because I've seen it work, or it works in this particular venue. And you want to make sure that you're not pushing this stuff too far. But the fact of the matter is, when you aren't encumbered by that, I'm not a salesperson for any of these people. That gives you a lot of freedom when you're doing
credibility.
Well, thank you for that. Yeah, I think that's
You know,
also the case.
That's a very big part of it. And people like that. People are looking for the reality. They're so tired of being sold things, or the snake oil salesman telling them that things will do things that they're not capable of. We weren't doing that. It's all about, here's information. We're not telling you you need to use this. This is for you to decide what you want to do. At least that was the approach I took. And they appreciated that, and then they got engaged in it and wanted to talk more about it because they had experiences like I was describing to them.
Well, and then I think the other thing is that when they're going through some of that and you're trying to explain it to them, if they know that you're not financially tied to it, they can take it from a whole different perspective. They don't have to be quite so skeptical. In addition to that, when it's, the reason I'm sharing this with you is because I've seen it work, and I don't go much beyond that. I mean, unless there actually has been a study done that I've seen, or something, kind of a higher level in terms of information. There is still some value to saying, well, here's an experienced person in the industry who has seen this and seen it work.
Right.
That's worth something.
Well, that's why they line up, and that's why I was your warm-up act. That's all I can say. Mike, I appreciate the time, and
Lance,
joining
it's
us.
always so good to chat with you. Thank you
You too.
for making this available on so many different platforms. I wish I even had a fraction of the understanding of the media
Magic.
stuff. Yeah,
We
it
use
is. It's
magic.
magic.
Yeah.
So I'll just leave it at that.
Yes,
But thank
pretty
you.
much.
Thank you
All right.
again.
Take care.